Okay, so this is the first query for today. Assume you are given a table on Walmart user transactions. Based on their most recent transaction date, write a query that retrieves the users along with the number of products they bought. Output the user's most recent transaction date, user ID, and the number of products sorted in chronological order by the transaction date. So they have given us the table user underscore transactions. In that product ID, user ID, spend and transaction date has been given. I have already inserted the data into the table. So one user has multiple entries, right? One user has multiple entries on different transaction dates. You can see over here user 123. 123 has three entries and the latest transaction date is 10th of July, right? So on the latest transaction date, how many products user has purchased that we require. So here what I have taken the maximum of transaction date per each of the user. So here there are many transaction days are there for one user, right? So we want maximum of transaction date per user. So that will be latest transaction date, right? So if you see over here, user ID 115 has 12th of, now let me select the entire table. Okay, user ID 115 has maximum date is 12th July 2022. Then user ID 123 is maximum date is 11 July 2022. And user ID 159 has maximum date is 12th July, which is coming two times, right? 12th July 2022. So in this particular transaction date, how many products has been purchased by each of the user? So if you see over here for 115, user has purchased only one product, right? Because this date is coming only one time for user ID 115. So we can say that only one product. Then 123. So 11 July, again 11 July is coming only one time for user ID 123. So again for this 123, it has purchased only one product. And for 159, if you see over here, there are two times maximum date is coming 12th July 2022. And two different product ID is purchased on that same date. So 159 has two different product IDs. 159 has two different product IDs. Now, now we have taken the each user maximum date. Now we have to encapsulate this entire block into the CTE, and then outside the CTE we need to join this original table which is user underscore transactions with user ID is definitely common column, right? User ID, and I want on maximum date only user has purchased how many products, right? On maximum date only user has purchased how many products. So so that I have written another end condition over here, which is city of maximum transaction date with original table u dot transaction date. So here we need to join with two columns to find the number of products any user has purchased on the maximum date. So now I need to do count of product ID, right? Because on particular user ID in particular transaction date, how many product has been purchased by each user that we want to find, right? So that I need user ID and transaction date and then count of product ID. And then I need to, because of we have used the aggregate function over here, we need to do group by user ID and transaction date both. Group by user ID and transaction date and then order by transaction user ID and transaction date. So now if I execute this query, then user ID, transaction date and product ID purchase. User ID, transaction date and product ID is purchase. Whatever I have written over here, that same result is coming right over here. So this should be our output. We can say that user ID is this. Sorry. User ID is this on this particular date. This 115 is purchase one product only. 123 is product one product only, and 159 is purchase two different products. So now this query is cleared, everyone. Let me know if there is any doubt in this query. You can write in the chat message. Clear, right? This query. Then let's jump to the next query. Assume, assume you are given the table containing Twitter user session activities. Write a query that ranks users according to their total sessions duration in descending order for each session type. Between the start date 112022 and end date 122022. Output the user ID, session type. Output the user ID, session type, and the ranking of the total session duration. So now they have given us the table, sessions table. In the session ID, user ID, session type, duration and start date is given. And these are the different, if you see the table, session ID, user ID, session type, duration and start date is given. So these are the different session types are given, right? Now, what is our requirement? Write a query that ranks users according to their total sessions duration. So this duration we need to do sum of this duration to based upon the group by each session type. Whenever there is a mention of each session type or each product category, then we have to do either partition by of that particular column or group by of that particular column. Now each session type we have given over here, so that we need to do group by on session type and output the user ID, session type, and the ranking of total session duration. So based on the sum of this duration, we need to do ranking as well. So now how we have done over here, and there is a mention of some date is given, right, between start date and end date. So again I have resolved this query with the use of city only. So here if you see that session table, we need to do we require user ID, session type, and then sum of duration, because for each user ID there are a different session types are there, right? And some user ID is again session. Let me order by user ID. Okay. So here, if you see over here, retweet is given this much of durations are there for one user ID, right? So we need to do the sum of all this value, but there is a condition that where start date between 112022 and end date between 1st February 2022. So let me write this condition as well over here. So now if you see over here for retweet, order by session type. Now if you see over here 12, 8, 6, 5, 5. This time this much time of it is coming. Now let me do run this query. So 111, if you see 11136 is there, right? Now let me see the data again for this main table. Now let me do the sum 12, 20, 26 and then 20, 26, 31 and 5, 36, right? So for this we are doing the sum of these activities, these session types of particular user ID. Then again 6 plus 2 is 8. So 111 another value will be 8. 111 again this one first one if you see it is 8, right? So first we are doing the sum of each user ID in each session type. We are doing sum based on this where condition, and then now what is our requirement? We require highest number of TDU, total duration, highest number of total duration at first, then second highest duration will become second, and third highest duration will become third. So that again after in the we have encapsulated this block in the city, and then after the city we have written user ID, session type, and then rank over partition by session type and order by TDU and descending. So now if I execute this query, it is giving me the rank as well. And now if I mention over here TDU, then you will be exactly able to see that for this like value, right? For this user ID in this session type, for this session type 10 is the highest one, so it is given one rank. For this session type again this user ID this session type 8 is second highest, so it has given second rank like that. Then if the session type is changing, then again it is giving the rank 1 because we have done the partition by session type, right? So whenever session type is changing, the ranking will start generating from 1 again the session type is changing, so ranking will start again with the 1, right? So this should be our solution. Now let me know if there is any question on this, there is any query on this one, or let me know if it is clear or not. You can want the you can write in the chat message, or you can speak as well. Actually, we have done the enough practice of cities, joins, ranking functions, analytical functions, multiple cities, subquery. So these are the main concepts, right? In any of the data related fields. Now, if there is no query, let me jump to the next question. So, you are given a table of PayPal payments showing the payer, the recipient, and the amount paid. A two-way unique relationship is established when two people send money, two people send money back and forth. Write a query to find the number of two-way unique relationships in this data. A pair can send money to the same recipient multiple times. So now if you see the table, they have given us the payment table and there is a pair ID, recipient ID and amount is given. Now one pair can be a recipient and this recipient can be a pair as well. So we need to identify the two-way unique relationships. How many distinct two-way unique relationships are there? So for this purpose, we need to use the intersect clause in which we need to do intersects by payer ID and recipient ID in the first select statement, and then in the second select statement that the same recipient ID will be reversed as a payer ID and payer ID will be reversed as a recipient ID. So let me show this is the table payer ID, recipient ID and amount. I have already inserted the data. And here they have given us one more thing. Because the back and forth transaction between two people should be counted as a single unique relationship, we can simply wrap this query in a subquery or city and divide the number of rows by factor of 2. Because there is a one relationship, one pair will be the recipient and then that receiver will be the pair as well, right? So that we are at the end dividing the factor by 2. The number of rows can be obtained with count function as shown below. So now what I have done over here, first I have identified the payer ID and recipient ID from the payments table and then intersect. I require common data. So that recipient ID should be the pay as a payer ID, but actually it's a recipient ID only, and we are just reversing in the second select statement. And now execute this select statement only. So so if you see from this entire data, 101 is a payer ID and 201 is a recipient ID. But then same 201 is coming again as a payer ID and 101 is coming as a recipient ID. So this will be one relationship. Then this will be another relationship, right? So if you see over here, like the same 101 is coming over here as a payer ID and 301 is coming as a recipient ID, and same thing is again repeating. 301 is coming as a payer ID and 101 is coming as a recipient ID. Same for these four cases as well. So now these are total how many payer IDs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8. So now at the end, we require count of payer ID divided the factor by 2. So this will be the unique relationship. We can say that. Now let me know if there is any doubt in this query. I have simply used the intersect clause over here because one payer ID will be recipient and that same recipient can be the payer as well. So I want only common data only. And then any if I do over here recipient ID divided by 2, then also it will give me the same result. Then also it will give me the same result. Everything is clear, guys. Okay, let me jump to the next question. So Visa is analyzing its partnership with Apple Pay. Calculate the total transactions volume for each merchant where the transaction was performed via Apple Pay. Output the merchant ID and the total transactions for merchants with no Apple Pay transaction. Output their total transaction volume is 0. Display the result in descending order of the transaction date. So now they have given us the transaction table, merchant ID, transaction amount and payment method is given. And payment one payment method is Apple Pay and another payment methods are different payment methods are there. Now we want to identify the merchants who has done the transaction with Apple Pay. And other than Apple Pay, we are taking it as a by default zero transaction. So let me show you this table first. So if you see over here, merchant ID, transaction amount and payment method is given. So few of the merchant ID has done the payments with Apple Pay payment method, right? Apple Pay. So how many of done? Let me order the data. Order by merchant ID and payment method. Or let me first to do order by payment method and then merchant ID. Okay. So this much has done the payment through Apple Pay, right? Okay, that will be fine. Apple Pay. So now we have seen the merchant ID sum of transaction amount. Means how much of total transactions had been done through Apple Pay, right? That we want to calculate. So from transactions where lower of payment method is equal to Apple Pay, group by merchant ID. So now if you see over here, for merchant ID 1, transaction amount is 1350. So if you see over here, 500 and 850. So 1350, right? Then merchant ID 3 is 23650. It should be 3650, right? Merchant ID 4 has done 2380, right? These two value we need to do sum, right? And then merchant ID 5, again these two value we need to do sum to 3270, right? For Apple Pay, they are doing in rest of the Apple Pay means rest of the types we are doing by default 0. So for all this merchant ID, same amount will be 0. Now we are doing union of everything, and then we are doing the overall calculation. So for merchant ID 2, if you see over here, merchant ID 2 has done no transactions with Apple Pay, right? So by default, we are taking 0 because they have mentioned in the query that if there is a merchant ID is for merchants with no Apple Pay transaction, output their total transaction volume is 0. So this is no merchant, no payment method is Apple Pay. So we have mentioned by default it is 0. And rest of the records we have mentioned the Apple Pay value only, right? Let me 365. So now let me know if there is any doubt in this question. At the end we are showing the sum of amount, sum of TMT, because this value we are showing over here in the outside of subquery, right? Outside of subquery we are showing this value and this value. This is by default 0. So all this sum will be joined over here, and then merchant we are doing by merchant ID, and because of we has done the aggregate function over here, we need to do at the end group by merchant ID and order by sum, and we can consider this entire select statement as a one table by defining T as a alias, right? Now let me know if there is any question on this query. Everyone is clear, right? Okay, now let me jump to the next question. As a data analyst on the people operations team at Accenture, you are asked with understanding how many consultants are staffed to each client. How many consultants are staffed to each client, and how many consultants are exclusively staffed to a single client. Write a query that displays the outputs of client name and the number of uniquely and exclusively staffed consultants ordered by client. Uniquely and exclusively staffed consultants ordered by client name. So exclusively staffed consultants means, let me first show you the tables. We have two tables are there. Employees tables are there. In that employee ID and engagement ID column is given, and then second table will be consulting engagements. In that engagement ID, project name and client name is given. In between these two table, engagement ID will be the common column with us, engagement ID, right? So now let me first select the data from the both the tables. Employee ID, engagement ID, right? So one employee is coming here two times are attached with two different engagements, 1 and 2, and both the engagements are having different clients. So this cannot be considered as a exclusive staffed consultants, right? Because one employee is attached with multiple engagements, but we want one employee will be attached with only one engagement. So for this 1022, 4 and 5, these all are exclusively attached with one engagement only, these four, because they are coming only once in this employee ID column, and they have no distinct engagement ID. They have only one engagement ID, right? So they are called as exclusively. Now, if you see over here, select employee ID from employees table and then consult employees table and then consulting engagement table. We are joining both the tables with engagement ID, and then we are taking count of client name. Count of client name will be one only, right? Will be one only because for 102, 1. So this one we need to look up over here. Then this is only one client name. But this 101 is coming 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 will be two different client names are there, right? So this will be eliminating 1001. But now if I executing this query, and if you see this result 10, okay. If you see this result, then that same result I have written over here 1002, 1003, 1004, and 1005. So these are can be called as exclusive consultants. Now, now this will be our one block of city. Now we are encapsulating this block inside the city, and then outside the city we are specifying client name, then count of city dot employee ID as exclusively staff, because we have mentioned the count of different district count of client name equal to one only. So these are called as a exclusively staffed clients. Exclusively staffed clients, right? Now, now if you see over here, now this consulting engagement I am taking over here with joining of employees table. So let me join that as well. And then we are doing the total staff we require, right? So from here count of employee ID, which is total 6, right? Total staff is total 6. But now if we do the group by client name, then how can we consider? It is, you can say that for Department of Defense, now let me select the original table where it is. Okay. So this is the original tables, employees tables and consultant engagement. So if you see over here, Department of Defense, how many total employees are working? So we have to see the engagement ID of this Department of Defense client name. Then we need to go to the employees table. And then in this employees table, we need to see where this engagement ID is coming. How many times this engagement ID is coming? One time, two time, and three time. So that Department of Defense's total staff is 3. Now let me see for the Department of Education. So let's pick up the engagement ID of Department of Education, that is 2. So let's move to the employees table where engagement ID 2 is coming only one time. So Department of Education has total staff is 1. And now Google. So Google has client name is 2 times it is coming. So 3 and 4 is engagement ID. And then we need to go to the employees table where we need to look up for 3 and 4. How many times 3 is coming and how many times 4 is coming. So 3 and 4 both are coming 1 times. So we need to do 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So Google has 2 staff are there. But now how many? So this will be our output for total staff. This will be our output for total staff. But now our requirement, we need to find exclusive staff as well. So that we have found over here. So how we can find the exclusive staff? So let me go to the Department of Defense table. So Department of Defense is 1 and 1 is coming over here 2 times. But 1 is coming over 3 times. But this employee we cannot consider as a exclusively working for only single department, because it is working for Department of Education as well. If you go to this engagement ID 2, for this one, it is working for Department of Education as well and Department of Defense as well. So this is not exclusively working for Department of Defense. So if you see 1002 and 1005, they are coming 1 only. So these two employees, we can say that exclusively staffed employees, exclusively worked for single department, and that are 2 employees, not 3. Total are 3, 1, 2, 2 and 3, but exclusively working are 2. Now let's see for Department of Education. Department of Education is 2. 2 is coming over here 1 time. But again, this is not working for a single department, right? So we cannot consider it as our result set. And there is no other place engagement ID 2 is coming. So here output will be 0. There are 2 employees working in the Department of Education. Sorry, there are only 1 employee is working for the Department of Education, but it is not exclusively working for Department of Education only. It is working for Department of Defense as well. So that we have considered it over here as a 0. Now let's see for Google. 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 is coming over here 1 time and 2 time. 3 is coming 1 time, 4 is coming 1 time. So both the apartments, both the employees we can consider as a exclusively working for this Google department. Now let me again jump to the query. So that is the thing I have done over here. Firstly, I have taken the exclusively working the employee ID, and then I have joined this exclusively working employee with left join, and then again consulting engagement table with inner join with engagement ID, and then doing simply the count of employee ID from the employees table. That what I have done over here, right? Over here. So it is coming 3, 1, 2. So that is all coming over here 3, 1, 2. And that will be same is coming over here. Total staff 3, 1, 2. And this city are we can consider as a exclusively working city, exclusively working employee ID in any specific department, because we have already calculated that thing over here. So this city will be joining over here with employee ID and employee ID column. Then we are doing the count by client name, because we want to find client name wise all the things, right? So this will be our result set. Let me show you the entire query. That what same thing I have written over here. Department of Defense is total 3 total staff, exclusively working are 2 total staff. Department of Education has 1 total staff and exclusively staff are 0. Now I have one question for you guys. Why I have done over here left join, not the inner join? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me why I have done you not use the left join, not the inner join? Whatever matter it is correct or wrong, anything will be fine. But you can speak. Believe me, guys, if you have done enough, whatever I have shown you in the classes, and you have practiced all the interview queries, whatever I have shown you in the classes as well as whatever is there in my YouTube channel, then it is more than enough to clear any of the interview up to 4 to 5 years of experience. You can definitely clear any of the SQL related interviews. Now let me know why I have used the left join over here, why I have not used the inner join. There is a simple answer. Can anyone tell me? Okay, let me explain you. If I have used the inner join over here, then what will happen? My this row of the result set, this row of the result set will be gone. That is not correct, right? It is my requirement. Because of 0, it is not showing. It is not showing in the result set. But that is not my requirement, right? I need to show Department of Education as total staff 1. But it is also itself is not coming. So this should be the wrong output. That is why I have done the left join over here. We have done the enough practice of SQL queries. Once I have shared the 45 SQL queries, right? One document. From that you can practice online, or you can create table by yourself, which is more better in SQL server like this. And then you can compare the result of your answer and that provided solution answer, and whatever the file I have shared with you, right? So many questions files I have shared with you, like scripts file. You can create table by yourself, and then you can do the practice that whether your solution and my solution is giving the same output. You can do the comparison. If it is giving the same output, then it is fine. Your solution may be different way, and my solution may be different way. You might have used some other concept, and I might have used some other concept. That is a different thing, but solution should be same. Your solution and my solution. Then you are at a good place to face any of the SQL interviews. And mostly this will be our final class. Now, if I arrange anything new in future, then I will put it in the group. Then we will surely meet again. Then let me know if you have any other questions or anything we can discuss now.